In this video, I'm going to show you how to complete the Excel Guided Project 4-3. But before we begin, I'd like to talk about the resource bundle. The resource bundle contains files that you'll need when completing this project, and you should have been instructed to download the resource bundle when you downloaded the start file and the instructions. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you where you can go to access help if you're a little bit confused on how to get the bundle ready and how to extract the files. And then I'll show you how I do it on my computer. But please be mindful that my computer might be different than your computer device. So you may need the SimNet instant help to help you get ready for this project. So let's head back over to the project page. And if you need help with the resource bundle, click on the question mark in the upper right hand portion of the screen and then select SimNet Instant Help. You'll come to the SimNet Instant Help area on the left hand side. Click Projects because this is a project, and then search for the area that says Extracting Resource Files. There's a set of instructions and a video that can help you learn how to extract and prepare the files for this project. So let's head back over to the project page and I'll show you how I prepare the files on my computer, but once again, please be mindful that your computer may be set up differently than mine. When you use the file download wizard, since I'm using Chrome on my computer, my downloads show up in the lower left hand portion of the screen, and they also are placed in my downloads folder. But once again, your computer may be set up differently than mine, so they may be located somewhere else. What I do to prepare the resource bundle, what you have to do is extract the files out of the bundle. So I head over to my files and folders area, to my downloads area, and then I look for the bundle. It's a picture of a folder with a zipper on it. And what I do is I hover over it, I right click, and then I click Extract All. It's going to ask you a question. It's going to ask you where do you want the files to be extracted to. And you can put them right back in this folder, or you can place them anywhere that you want. Make sure they're in a place that you'll remember where to go when you need them. So when you're ready, just click Extract, and the files will be ready for your use. So let's head back over to the project page and begin with step 1. Step 1, it says open the start file. The start file is what you see right here. Next, it says enable the editing button. If you are in the protected mode, and you'll know this because you'll see a yellow bar across the top, simply double click the enable editing button, and this will allow you to edit the workbook. Next, if your instructor tells you to rename the file, this is the time to do it. However, if they don't tell you anything, then you certainly don't have to rename it. But I do highly suggest that you save your file. There are several ways to do that. One of the easiest and quickest ways is to click on the little diskette button in the upper left-hand portion of the screen, and that will save your file. And that completes step 1. Step 2 says to copy the paste and projected sheet before the criteria sheet, and then name the copied sheet ADV filter. And this is easy to do. We simply hover over the name in the lower left hand portion of the screen, paste and projected, select move or copy, create a copy, and watch what's going to happen. A copy will be created right here. And you can see that it's created. Next, we need to rename it. And what we do is we right click, we click rename, and we type in ADV filter. Make sure you get the spelling and capitalization correct. And that completes step 2. Step 3, it says create and format an Excel table. So on the ADV filter sheet, we need to select A4 through E60. A4 through E60. Next, in 3B, we need to click the Quick Analysis button. It's down here in the lower right. And select Tables, and then Table. And that'll turn it into a table. And that completes step 3. Step 4, apply a table style. I'm going to click in cell A5 up here. Let me make this just a little bit bigger so you can see that. A5, that's 4A. And then we need to click the More button. So we need to make sure that we're on the Table Tools Design tab. Table Styles group. The More button is in the lower right hand portion. And we need to select Table Style Medium 15. And medium's down there, and I know it's somewhere about here. Hover over them until the name appears. I'm doing a quick double check. It's very easy to select the wrong style. And now we've turned that into a nice looking table. And that completes step 4. Step 5, create an output range for an advanced filter. So we need to select cells A4 through, and that's what the colon means, through E4. So it's just this row right here. And we're going to copy and paste them into cell G4. A couple different ways that you can copy. You can come up here and click copy, or you can do what I do. I use the shortcuts all the time. I hold down the control button on my PC anyway, and I select C, and that copies. I believe on a Mac it's the command button and C will copy. Double check that for me please if you're on a Mac. I paste it into G4. And once again, I'm sure I mentioned this, as I go through each step, I'm crossing off each item as I complete it. I don't want to miss anything here. So then what I do to paste them, I could come up here and click paste, or I could do what I do. I use the shortcut, I hold down the control button, I click V, and that pastes the information. In step 5B, we need to type in extract range. I'm going to highlight this to make sure that when I select the font, it's just Cambria, font style, and the font size, it selects that, and that looks good. I'm going to click off of that to lock it in place. And then lastly, it says adjust the column widths to show the labels. You can see how the labels are a little bit squished here. There's a couple different ways to do this. One way is to use the auto fit, and you can highlight all those columns and then double click between any of the letters, and it'll open them up just a little bit more. In fact, you can manually do it if you like. Just open them up. And that completes step 5. Step 6, create an advanced filter. Click the Criteria tab. Here we go, and I'm crossing off each item as I complete it. We need to select cell A3. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. And we need to type in exactly what we see on the screen, which is the greater than sign. 12, 31, 16, in cell B3, and I'm going to hit the tab button and it'll move over, but you could simply click on cell B3 if you like. That works out well too. Type in MRI. In A4, we're going to type in greater than 12 slash 31 slash 14 to find all the records after 2014. Hit the tab button. In B4, we need to type in CT scan. Next, we need to click cell A5 on the advanced filter sheet. So I'm going to click the advanced filter sheet. Click on A5. We need to click on the advanced button in the data tab. Data tab, it's up towards the center. Once again, I'm going very slowly to make sure that I get everything right. We need to click the advanced button. Should be somewhere in the center of the screen. Select copy to another location. So that's the radio button down here. Verify that the list range is A4 through E60, and it looks pretty good. On my computer, it looks good. It says if it's incorrect, then make sure the range is correct for you, but it looks good on my computer. Moving down to 6J, on 6J, it says click the criteria range box right there. And we need to head over to the criteria sheet, which makes sense. And we need to select A2 through B4. A2 through B4. Click the copy to box. And on the advanced filter sheet, see how that changes right there. Make sure it's on that. It says select cells G4 through K4. And we need to do G4 through K4. And finally, L says click OK. And that completes step 6. Step 7, sort data. So let's click on cell H5. H5 is right here. Make this just a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. H5. Right click. Click sort, and it's asking me to sort A to Z. You can see how it changes it in alphabetical order. Next, I'm going to click on G5, right click, sort, sort oldest to newest, and that gets us where we need to be. Just a couple quick notes here. There are multiple ways to sort things on your computer. You could also sort by clicking the sort button up here in the middle of the data tab. You could also find sort up here on the home tab. So there are multiple different ways to find sort. Just like many of the features in the Microsoft products, there's often multiple ways to do them. So in this case, I'm following the instructions because we want to do it exactly the way the instructions say, but I want to let you know there's multiple ways to do things. And that completes step 7. Step 8, apply conditional formatting and borders. So let's select cells I5. Let me make this a little bit smaller. I5 through I14. And then we're going to click the conditional formatting button. Let's be on the Home tab right here. Conditional formatting button should be somewhere towards the center depending on your computer or device. Choose Highlight Cell Rules. We want to choose greater than, and I'm just crossing off each item as I complete it. You should do the same. It says type in 750. It may be in there for you already, but if it isn't, make sure 750 is in there. And then choose green fill with dark green text. Green fill with dark green text. Double checking my work. Clicking OK. That looks pretty good. Next, it says select G5 through K14. G5. And just a quick note about Excel. You can certainly figure out which row and column you're on by just scrolling down and across, but you can also see the cell up here. It'll tell you the name of the cell you're in. So there's a couple different ways to know exactly where you are. So we're going to select cells G5 through K14. It's pretty much all the data here. And we're going to apply all borders. Home tab, fonts group, the borders button. One of the choices is all borders. And I'll just click off that to take a look. You can see the borders are on there. And then lastly, it says press and hold down Control as you hit the Home key, and it'll move it back up to cell A1, the very beginning of this sheet. And that completes step 8. Step 9. We're going to import a comma-separated values text file. So this is the part where we're going to use one of those files that we extracted from the download bundle. So if you didn't do that step, you'll need to do that before step 9. Go do that right now. And if you have that file ready, let's start with 9A. It says click the expense info sheet. Let me make that just a little bit bigger so we can all see it. And I'm really going to take my time here, folks. Select cell A5. Completes 9B. We need to head up to the Data tab. And we need to select the From Text button. And it should be over on the left, and it is in fact. And if the file that you extracted isn't showing up right here, often it is, simply search for it. Now I know that I put it in my downloads file or folder, and I can search for it. You need to find it on your computer. If it doesn't show up immediately, make sure it's this particular file. And I'm just double checking that it is, and of course it is. I clicked import. And now we need to work over here. Let me move this to the center. The text import wizard. And we're looking pretty good. We next need to select the delimited radio button if it's not already selected. Click next. We need to deselect the tab button, deselect the tab, and select the comma. Because remember, we're going to do a comma separated values text file. Clicking next. We're getting pretty close here, just follow along. That's 9H. In 9I, it says click the date column. Click on the word general, and that'll select the date file. Next, click the Date Radio button. It's looking pretty good, making sure that I'm not missing anything. I'm checking figure 4-92 to make sure that I'm on the right track, even though I've done this several times. Click Finish. And then we need to make sure that the Add this data to the data model is deselected. On my computer, it is deselected, but if there was a check mark for you, you would just uncheck it and click OK. And you can see that all the data populates there. That completes step 9K. Next, it says select columns A through D. You just hover on the A, hold down your mouse button, and select all the way over to D. I'm going to head to the Home tab, and we need to come over to the Cells group area, click Format, and we need to do column width. And we're going to type in what we see there, 12.11. Click OK. It's looking pretty good. Next, it says just deselect the column, so I can click anywhere outside of that. Good job, folks. That completes step 9. Step 10, use the subtotal command. So let's click on cell A5, success, and we're going to head up to the data or the data tab, and we're going to click sort A to Z. And you'll see over here in this area, one of the choices is it's the top upper leftmost one. It says sort A to Z, so I select it. And now it's sorting by the last name, crossing off 10B because we've just completed that. On 10C, it says click the subtotal button. It's over here towards the right. Subtotal. Verify that last name is selected. For the at each change in, that's that. Last name is selected on mine. If it wasn't for you, you'd make sure that it is selected, but it probably should be for you. Click the Use Function drop down and choose Average. Check the Amount box, which it is selected for me, so there's nothing for me to do. And then click OK. Next, we're going to format column D, and this is easy to do. Simply click directly on the D, head back over the Home tab. Somewhere in the center of your screen in the numbers grouping, use the drop down, select currency, and then a feature that you should be very familiar with, hopefully, is the decimal places increase and decrease. The right button, the one to the right up here, is the decrease, and you just need to make it so nothing after the decimal point is showing. And that completes step 10. Step 11, we're going to collapse outline groups. So what we need to do is, you can see the outline groups on the left hand side. We need to click the minus button on row 8 over here. Make that a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. To collapse it, and then we need to scroll down for McAllister and click it. And I'm just taking a look at figure 4-93 just to do a quick double check to see if I'm on the right path, and I am. So that completes step 11. Step 12, create a pivot table. In 12A, we're going to click the Paste and Projected Sheet tab. We're going to select cells A4 through E60. Taking my time to make sure that I have the range selected correctly. It's looking good. I'm going to click the Quick Analysis tool area. It's in the lower right hand portion of your screen, or you could click and hold Control and Q. Choose Tables. Then says hover over each choice. Take a look and see what each one says, and we need to select the appropriate choice. You see that in figure 4-94. Do a quick double check to make sure that you are indeed selecting the right pivot table. And I'm just triple checking. Hate to get this far and make a mistake. You can see that a new sheet opens up. I'm going to right click on that sheet and click rename and call it pivot table without any spaces, capitalize P. Make sure you get the spelling and capitalization correct. And then just click out of that to lock it in there. What we need to do is click on the pivot table, and you can see the pivot table fields pane opens up over here, and we need to get rid of the month field. So we head down to the rows area and we select the month and we drag it and we drop it just into the body of the main portion of the worksheet, and that gets it out for us, and that completes step 12. Step 13, we're going to format a pivot table. So let's click in, make this a little bit bigger. Let's click in to cell C4. Then we need to head up to the pivot tables tool analysis tab. Over here we need to click on field settings. And there's a lot of little steps here, so I'm really taking my time. Click on number format. Select number. Use 1000 separator. And set to 0 decimal places. Then we're going to click OK. And OK. And then it says in 13G to do the same, apply the same number format for the sum of patients field. So that's over here, right next to it. In D4, we're going to do the same thing. So let's recreate those steps. Field settings, number format, number, use the 1000 separator, comma, 0 decimal places, OK, and OK. Good job, folks. Continuing on to step 13H, we need to be up in the Design tab. You are most likely on the Analyze tab, so click on the Design tab. It wants us to click on the More button so we can see all of the design or style choices. We need to be down in the dark area, and we need to select Pivot Style Dark 9. And on my computer, down towards the bottom right here, it's in the dark area. Make sure you get it right. This system is very particular, so you want to hit the correct choice. Let's make sure that it's on bandit rows and bandit columns, and that just gives the table a nice look. Double checking with figure 4-95 to see if I did it correctly. If not, I'd go back and correct it, but I think I'm good. Step 14. We're going to create and format a pivot chart. So let's click on the pivot chart button. We need to be on the Analyze tab. Over here in the Tools group, PivotChart. We need to select bar, and we need the stacked bar subtype. So there's a lot of different choices. Make sure you get the stacked bar. Looks good. Click OK. It says position the chart object so the top left corner is in cell A12. And hopefully you remember how to do this. Grab somewhere around the edge, not in here because you could move items and disturb them. So grab the border. Do your best to position it A12. I'm going to make the screen a bit smaller because it wants us to extend this out to J30. Grab the handle over here. Do your best to get it to the bottom of J30. And that completes step 14E. 14F. We need to be in the Design tab. And a lot of these tabs look very similar, so really make sure you pay attention here. The Design tab. And we need in the Chart Styles group, Chart Styles, click the More button. We need to choose Style 8. And I believe it's that one, and indeed it is. Next, and this is very important in G, click on the Change Colors and then check out all the different color options. Next, we need to deselect the number of employees. So let's head over here to the Fields pane. We can simply deselect the number of employees. That will get rid of that. And then lastly, it says click on cell A1 to get rid of the pane. And that completes step 14. Step 15, export data using the clipboard. So we're going to click on the ADV, the Advanced Filter Sheet tab. That completes step 15A. Next, it says select cells G4 through K14. It's looking pretty good. And then click the copy button. We'll do it exactly like it says up here. On the Home tab, click copy. Completes 15B. Next, we need to open up the Word document. You opened up or extracted 2 files in the very beginning of this project. Hopefully you know where they are. What you need to do is locate them right now. There's a Word document. It may take you a minute or two to find it. That's okay. But once you find it, open up the Word document. Give it a second. And this is opening up in the protected view. So what I'm going to do is click Enable Editing. And don't worry about these symbols right here. These are the show hide characters. They don't print, they just show you the hidden formatting code. So don't worry about these right now. It says in 15D, hold down the Control button and then hit End. That'll take you to the very bottom of the document. And since there's several more steps, I'm really taking my time here. It says click the arrow with the Paste button. Home tab, and it wants us to paste special. Select Microsoft Excel worksheet object. On my computer, it happens to be the first choice, but make sure you select the correct choice. We need to choose Paste Link and click OK. Give it a few seconds and it should populate inside this Word document. When the table appears, click the center button So we'll head over to the Home tab, Center button. May have to click on it, Center, just to make sure it's centered in there. And lastly, we're going to save this Word document. Please note that you will not be uploading this into SimNet. I'm actually going to click Save As. I want to make sure I know where it's being saved to. Put in my Downloads folder. And it wants me to save it as my initials, Excel 4-3. Click Save. And lastly, we'll close out of Word. Step 16 says to save and close the workbook. Step 17 says to upload it into SimNet. And step 18 says to submit it for grading. Best of luck, folks.